I remember once being told that in life, there's two types of pain. It's the pain that hurts and the pain that alters. But yet with both of them is where you should start your growth. Y'all don't understand all the pain that I feel, and it hurts so deep. I'm tired of ducking these ghosts all my life. I'm viewed as being a failure, and every day I'm haunted by that ghost. See, I'm haunted by that ghost. I realize that in most eyes, hell, I'm seen as being a failure. Yeah, but my apologies are just to my seeds, daddy failure. Wasn't there for...
Peace and blessings. Welcome to the Grand Family First podcast, where you're not a listener, you're part of the family. And I'm your co-host, Salaam, and I am, like I said, your co-host, and we're making her debut today as Princess ZayZay. Tell everybody hi, Princess ZayZay.
The accent I know.
I should have wanted. Yes. And today we have a special edition of our podcast. This podcast is for those who get to the point in their lives, because let's be honest, we all have came to that point in our lives where we have questioned certain things, like the trials and tribulations that we went through. We've questioned the things of like, what is our purpose? Why are we here? As you being of a younger generation, then have you ever been a point in your life where you came to that crossroads where you had questions about certain things, dealing with life and your purpose?
I would definitely say yes, especially, going through high school. Definitely did have those questions a lot. Trying to, you really don't know what you're doing. You feel like you're all over the place. Definitely felt like that while I was in high school, for sure.
True that. And see, so today's podcast is titled Understanding Your Purpose. Understanding your purpose and the point of transition in life. And we are here with our guest. She's a life coach. She's a digital creator. She's an author. She's a mother. She's a wife. She's a child of God. She's a spiritual motivational speaker, and she's unapologetically her. I would like everybody to welcome Miss Shana Wilson Anderson. Thank you. Welcome to the Grand Family First podcast.
Thank you. But you forgot my most important title.
How you doing?
Grandmother. You forgot grandmother.
I forgot grandmother. How could I dare forget that grandmother? I apologize. Yes. So, Shana, give the family a little brief synopsis of who you are and what are your, as being a life coach, what is it that you like to help people with and give them that key?
Absolutely. So life coach is really about helping people pull out what's already inside of them. I ask a lot of tough, challenging questions to make people really think about their goals and their objectives. And I help them create an action plan to figure it out. And once they figure it out, we create a plan to execute on it. And then I help hold you accountable. And then we celebrate when you reach those goals.
So, I mean, what areas have you found that have been like the most challenging with people, like, that they've faced in their life? Like, what have you seen to be the most challenging with you, like helping them face it?
I think the most challenging thing people face is finding balance in their lives. Everyone says, I want to figure out what my purpose is. And they think, purpose is this grand thing that, only a few have. But every person on earth has a purpose in life. And often we can't figure it out because we lack balance in our life. And when I talk about balance, it's really, I'm so focused on my finances or the lack of finances, I don't have the time to spend really cultivating the thing that I'm passionate about in life, which truly is your purpose. It's those things that, you can talk about for hours with anybody and you get all excited about it. That's what your purpose is. But if you're so focused on, my light's going to get cut off or how do I put food on my table, doesn't leave room for you to really sit quietly and really cultivate what's already inside of you.
Oh, true that. I understand it. We lost the visuals for a minute, but it'll come back. But you know what? I've heard, I've like what is I think her name is Joyce Myers. I believe that's who it no, it was actually on his mind is came understanding the purpose of life. I can't remember exactly who's the author. Either Joyce Myers or the brother who passed away not too long ago, a few years back. He's a preacher. Um, when people talk about their purpose, some people think like a purpose can be like to be rich, to be famous, or to have something that's that's significant, that's grand for everybody to see. But uh I see purpose, it can be your purpose in life can also to be to cultivate that 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 what you see inside someone else that they doesn't see. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I think my sole purpose in life is to do just that. My sole
Uh-huh.
purpose is to help other people discover their purpose in life. It's the thing that I've been doing before I even put a title to it. It's the thing I've been doing before I even had, the certification and degrees and stuff behind my name. Is having conversations with people and helping them have those aha moments, those insights to spark something inside of them. It's nothing more
Mm-hmm.
fulfilling and rewarding when you're having conversations with somebody and you see that light bulb go off, right? And they're like, okay, this is the thing I
Mm-hmm.
want to do. I don't know where to start. Then that's where I can lean in and say, okay, especially the young folks like Zaina, right? She's fresh out of high school, still trying to find her way, which is great. She's in an amazing place because she doesn't have to say it's this thing today, but take
Mm-hmm.
advantage of all the opportunities that she has. And once she finds something and she gets really excited about it, pouring into her and saying, you know what? Okay, let's continue this journey. What can I help? What can I do to help you continue to execute on this particular thing? And it might change, right? Or it may
Mm-hmm.
be just an entryway into something different for her.
Mm-hmm. You know, I currently was we're doing a series called from felonies to LLC, sentence to success, life after prison. And when you was talking about your purpose, I found that it was me to use this my platform because first initially I was going to use this platform to expand my my audience in music. But one day I had it was a conversation that was needed between me, Zena, her brother, and her mother, to help patch up some things, on the road to reconciliation. And listening to Zena articulate her views and listening to the things that she was saying, it kind of spun that and gave me a new idea or a new concept to actually use this platform to help help to bridge that gap, to help men, to help highlight certain things regardless if it's you know uh in regardless if you're a single parent, regardless if you're if you have that disconnect between you and your children, you and that disconnect between your significant other, or just help a bridging and balancing, bridging the gap in relationships. And so that's why I came up with the idea to actually, you know, the offer the offer the invitation. Man, pardon me, y'all. You know what I'm saying? When you telling somebody to hold on and they keeping on, and you trying to tell them to hold on, and you understand? And I said,
Hey, that's the virtual
and,
world. It happens. It happens.
yeah, and I have to realize, hey, how they say it, I'm a work in progress. He ain't done with me yet, because I wanted to say some words, but had to all praise due to Allah. You got sometimes you have to have the life, life just like just now. That was a challenging moment, obstacle to where how you gonna handle something. Are you gonna forget your situation? You gonna forget where you at, or how you gonna come back? But back to what I was saying is like that's why I reached out to you to invite you because you know I'm going through a transitional moment. Zena herself was going through a transitional moment, and I'm quite sure there's many others that's going through transitional moments. Say, for instance, what would be your possible solution to someone that's transitioning in between, trying to understand spirituality, like still having a spiritual life, but not be controlled by, we're still battling with that secular world.
I would say just take one day at a time. I know that sounds very cliche-ish, but God is not looking for perfection. He's looking for progress. And every day you have an opportunity to start over. Every moment that you still have breath in your body, just take advantage of that moment. But more importantly, something that you said is, life happens, right? You talked about your previous relationship with your kids and how you're transitioning to a better, progress into a better journey. You couldn't have a platform like this to share that story had you not had that experience. So when you think about your journey with God, it's the same way. You're going to go through some bad experiences, but from those experiences, I guarantee you there's something that you can learn from. Learn what you should not do, or even learn what you should do differently. So as you're in this journey of transition, I tell people to pause, stop for a minute and just reflect on your past and think about, what are those things that I did really well? Give yourself a clap, because we don't celebrate the good things. And then think about the things you didn't do so well and figure out, okay, I don't want to do that thing again. So be very conscious of those choices and those decisions to not be that same person or do those same things. That's how God wants us to be with him. When you recognize things you've done in the past, just don't do them again. He's a forgiving God. None of us is perfect. We're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen, but be forgiving to yourself and just allow just one day at a time.
While you saying that, what came to my mind, I believe is Samuel 2, when it said, the Lord and man doesn't judge us the same. For man judges upon the outer appearance, for the Lord judges the heart. That's why when you said that just now, it got me to think of that. When you say He's God is a forgiving God, and He understands we're going to make mistakes. So that's what when you say that just now, that is funny that scripture actually came to my mind. And some people might laugh. I mean, try to have that moment. Yes, my religion is Islam. But I grew up in the church and I understand scripture, and in our faith we believe in all books of God, so we don't put one over the other. But Zaina, what question would you have for actually, guess what, y'all? This is actually Zaina's godmother.
That's right, you forgot that title.
Yeah, she forgot to tell us my godmother as well.
Yes.
Well, I guess for me, because I am in college, it can be very overwhelming or whatever, especially with mental health. So what would you suggest for people that's in college to get their mental back up? You have your lows and downs, your ups and downs and all that. But how would you say to overcome it while you're in college?
You broke up there for a second, but I think you said being in college, you experience some highs and lows, and how do you move forward? That's life. You're going to experience highs and lows. The most important part is don't stay in the low, right? Figure out why you're there and figure out how to get out of it. Look for something more positive. It's a mind game often, because you can have this whole pity party in your mind, right? Oh, this is happening, this and this and this, and next thing you know, you're feeling sad, you're feeling down. Or you can change your mind and say, you know what? I'm going to focus on something else. Focus on those moments or those things that make you happy, that make you smile. And then you really training your mind to think differently. You can only have one thought at a time. Think about it. You can't think about two things at once, but you can change back and forth, but you can only think about one thing at a time. In those moments when you're feeling low, force yourself to think about positives. Like if you're worried about an exam, can I do it? Start talking to yourself and saying, you know what? I can, I got this. God has given me exactly what I need. I'm going to excel. And then think about the time you've been in that same situation before and you got through it.
Hey, Shawn, go back to that last part because you kind of broke up. Your audio kind of broke up. Could you say that last part when you say go back and think? Could you repeat that part again?
Yeah, I just said, when you're going through those bad situations, go back and reflect on a time that was similar that you got out of. So, an example with a college student, you're worrying about exams. You went through the same exams last semester. You were all stressed about it, but you passed them. So start hyping yourself up, be your own cheerleader. Start saying, you know what? I can do this. I can handle it. Start speaking those positive affirmations to yourself to build up your confidence and change your mindset so that you're not in that negative space, but you're more in the positive space, and you're focusing on something that's going to get you out of the low and keep you in that high. But you're going to go back and forth. That's just life.
Okay.
Speaking of being young and make a transition, I like to tell you a person who went. I like to give a shout out to Shawn's Home Improvement Services. This is a young man who made the transition as a young man to being a father, to being a business owner. So if you need any type of home improvement, any type of regardless if it's fixing garage doors, cabinetries, your flooring, your roofs. If you're in the South Carolina, North Carolina area, reach out to Shawn's Home Improvement Service. You can find you can find him on Facebook. The Facebook page is Shawn Home Improvement Services. Give him a shout out. You'll be amazed and surprised when you see the work of this young man, the things that he's done. And not only am I giving a shout out to him because I've seen his work, because he's my cousin and I'm proud of him. So as we want to look as we want to look for the positive in the young generation, this is a younger generation. This is a young man who has the entrepreneurial spirit, who's done it from the ground up, who's learned it, and he's on his way to building a major company in the South Carolina, North Carolina area. Again, reach out to Shawn Home Improvement Services. Look for him on your Facebook. That's his Facebook page, Shawn Home Improvement Services. Now, I said that you was a life coach, but I also said that you was an author. Tell the people about your book.
Yes, I am an author. I wrote a book called It Is Well. It's really about life. Life was happening to me, and I didn't realize it at the time. Like Zaina just talked about a few minutes ago, I was going through all these lows in my life, and it was a tough time. And then one day I was sitting back talking to my husband, and I'm like, I feel like I should write a book. I have no clue. And he says, well, you always write in those journals. What do you have in there? So I looked at my journals. I had about 8 or 9 of them that I wrote over several years. And in those journals, I found that life was happening, but I found a solution to all the problems that I was having. So It Is Well is really a guide to help you get through this thing called life. How did I manage to get to where I am today? I pride myself by saying I am unapologetically me. That means I'm proud of my past. All the things that's happened to me has made me who I am today. I can speak and have conversations with people about marriage problems, raising teenage boys, drama in corporate America, all those financial problems. There was a point in my life I had a mountain worth of debt, and I could sit in front of you today to say, hey, I'm debt free. But there was a way in a step-by-step process to get there. And that's what I do as part of my organization, my business. I create a course. It's called I Am Unapologetically Me, where it teaches people how to find balance in their life. How do you get out of debt? How do you get a relationship with God? How do you get surrounded by positive people? How do you get physically healthy? How do you get mentally healthy? It's a full gamut to help people find balance in their life. And that course will allow you to do it at your own pace. Take your time, do it. And at the end of it, you schedule a session with me as a certified life coach, and I help you create an action plan to get you started.
Have you came across any like children of Zaina age, or was mainly adult?
No, absolutely. I like to talk to the young adults. Because once upon a time, a long time ago, I was exactly the same as was. And I really wish I had someone more experienced to kind of hold my hand and help me get through some of those challenges in life and help me not make some of the many mistakes that I made. I'm glad I made them because now I can help somebody else not make the same mistake. So I do encounter young folks like
Kind of
Shana.
pause. Your audio kind of pause again. It'd be like that when you're dealing in this metaverse world. But you know what? Um, like like we talking about, the point of life transition, and I've talked about this many a time, and one of the things that I've talked about was my children and me being in my incarceration and my what was my transitional point. And like I saw it on a prior podcast, man. I wasn't the best. I don't deserve no Father of the Year award. I don't deserve a Husband of the Year award. But the old me wouldn't have been man enough to admit that I was wrong. I would point the finger and say, I would always look at the other person and not got a chance, not want to tip the accountability to myself. And it was a point that really really hit home, that actually made me say, you know what, I got to do better. I need to do better. And this was a letter that I got from my younger son, Sincere. And I had 2 more years left in prison. I remember this letter also clear. And he said, man, I have to wait 2 more years to spend all the time in the world with my only father. And for a child at that, for a young man at that age that said that, it's not only talking about looking back at the pictures and they come to see me, Sincere, Zena, Misha, Loquan, Asia, they coming to see me in prison. But I had to realize I can't put them back in that situation. I can't put them back in that. Not saying that this transition in life, especially because there's no manual on how to be a parent. There's no manual on how to be a man. There's not, even though there's a thing. There's two books called the Bible and the Holy Quran. There are manuals, but it's not there. There are moral compass, but you're still going to learn because of certain experiences in life that you have to go through by experience. And I remember there was a conversation, and what you said earlier, Zena said the exact same thing to me. She told me, she said, Dad, sometimes I feel like you want a pity party. Remember you said that to me, Zena?
I said that. Did I say it like that? I feel like I didn't say it like that. I don't think I
How
said it
did you
like
say it? How did you say it?
I don't know. I basically was saying like certain things I feel like you should just, you should look at the other person's perspective, especially as your children's
Hold
perspective,
on, you
because
called.
at a
Oh,
point you
is
weren't
she,
there,
she
you feel
going
me?
in the
So
pause?
what I was saying
Say
was
it again.
I
Say
feel
it again,
like,
Zena. Uh huh.
huh? I was just
No,
saying at that
yeah.
point I felt like certain during the conversation that we did had, I felt like I didn't want to say that you wanted all the pity, but I felt like you could have pity, but at the same time, your kids can have pity too, because at a point you weren't there, so they can feel how they decide to feel. So you can't try to, oh, you only feel like this because of, and so on, so on. So that's all I
Uh
was really
huh.
trying to say. And not trying to say that you wanted the pity part, but I was just saying that from a different perspective, especially from your children's
hmm
perspective, growing up when all of that stuff was happening.
And see, that's what the point of this whole conversation. We us as parents, sometimes we have to learn from our children. And that's the point of transition, like to come to that point to say, dang, you know, I heard someone told me something that's also true. They said they aren't stupid, they just children. They ain't dumb, they just children.
Right.
And I'm like, dang, that's very good. So but I know you personally. You're more like a sister. Well, you're more like yeah. She more like she low taller than me, but so she ain't really the big sister. I'm really the big brother because she married to my big brother. But I've been there majority. First of all, this I got to do this. You know what I'm saying? I got to get 25 years, 25 years of marriage. That's
I've
for
been married for a long time, godmommy. I didn't realize
Baby girl, all my life.
that.
listen. I mean, and the thing about it is, and this is what I can attest to, and I always told my brother this. I always told him, man, I admire him. He was more like, not only was he like he was my brother, but he was like my father figure because he used to take care of me. You know what I'm saying? Like if something happened, he was the first to be there. But I remember different points in the life to where not only I saw the transition in your life, I saw things in his life. He transitioned from the time that Deshawn, you told him about Deshawn, to the time that he left out the military, to y'all being married, to the different steps when the roles was kind of reversed, when it was like you had to, because he wanted you tell him to seek his dream and being a barber. You know what I'm saying? And so when then it came to the point that me and him had a conversation, and he said, and these were the words that he said to me. He said, "Man, she sat back and she sat back and she allowed me to have my dream. So time for me to step back and allow her to do hers." And and those are different transitional moments that I saw, that I've seen, that I experienced. That's why by you taking on that, everything that you saying, as far as you being a life coach, and I didn't know you had 8 to 9 journals, but I can attest wherever you put in those journals, people can speak it, but I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? I bore witness to it, and I'm telling you, from my lips to God, she's the truth. That's why I said that. I had to commend you. So, what about the transitional life periods and becoming a mother to from girlfriend or fiance to mother to how was those transitional periods for you?
I can say when I think about being in a relationship, whether it's a mother to child relationship or a marital relationship, any relationship, you're going to go through transitions because you're going to continue. Hopefully, you're growing and you're learning different things. Life is teaching you various lessons. But I think in my marriage, people always say, it's 50-50. I disagree. There's times in my life where our relationship is 10-90, it's 20-80, it's 50-50, it's 60-40. You have to recognize where you are at that moment and what the other one needs. And for a long time, my husband needed me to support him in his journey, in his business. And that's what I did because I thought that was the right thing to do. And lo and behold, when the opportunity came for me to grow and do more, the roles reversed, and he made an ultimate sacrifice in my eyes and gave up his business to allow me to flourish in my career. But even in that single act, it opened the doors for us together, because we are in a total different state. We both have our own businesses now. He has Anderson McQueen Trucking. He's about to open another business here within the next, I want to say the next 30 days. But had he not made that sacrifice, I don't think we would be where we are today. So in relationships, you have to listen and recognize where people are in a journey. And sometimes you listen for the things that's not being said. And that's when you really have to be in tune to each other. When you see people's mood shifts or their attitude shifts or just something isn't right, probe, ask questions, figure it out until you figure it out. Because when we said I do, that means I do. I ain't going nowhere. He's not going nowhere.
25 years later, I'm still going. Hey, but I mean, I wish the younger me had. I wish I could have had those 25 years of experience. I wish that I had that example back when I tried. Man, I tried 2 different times. I'm gonna try one more time. If I don't get this one here, I'm throw my hands up. But I mean, I can't go. I don't know who. I'm not saying I'm in the midst of doing that. ZayZay.
Okay.
You said she just. Nah, no, I'm just saying, but those are so. those y'all know why I'm laughing. But ZayZay, you have any other questions? Do you have any questions?
Mm, I don't know. I don't think so. I just really
You
wanted to
because
know
you
about the college one because college is a little hard. College is a little hard. So definitely you saying that will help me. Just thinking, don't think about the negative. Just focus about like all the stuff that, all the achievements I made while I've been going through college. So I'll definitely keep that in mind for sure.
because Shana, you too had because you was working at
Nothing in life worth having
mm, go
generally
ahead.
comes really easy. Like those things that are really hard, it's worth it in the
Mhm.
end. And being a college student, I think one of the most impactful things you have to do is structure your time, right? Be effective in your time management. You got to have balance. You
Mhm.
got a lot of work you got to do. At the same time, you're young. You still got to enjoy life too. So
Right.
finding the right balance where you don't over index on one area or the other, plan out your day and create what I call a do it list, not a to do list. A do it list is these are the things I'm going to do today. And in those lists, the first thing have to be is Zana time. You have to find time for yourself. And during that time, you do whatever you want. Like 1 hour of a day, I do Shana time. And it could be watching something silly on TV, to reading my Bible, to writing, to going running, whatever it is, taking a bath, whatever Shauna wants to do for 1 hour. You should do the exact same thing for yourself. Find an hour a day to focus on you.
Okay, I'll definitely keep that in mind. I've never thought about it like that, but I'll definitely keep that in mind since you said that.
Yes, because I mean, Zena goes to school, work there. That's an amazing thing that this to see that a younger person works third shift. That
Ugh.
means that they get off work and goes to school. If she goes to school, she come
Yes.
home and goes to sleep and
Mhm.
bought her own car. I didn't have to sign for it. She, Mama didn't have to sign for it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we gotta. Those are things you gotta commend. You know what I'm saying? Because that's showing that you made a transition in life to being a responsible person. You
Yes.
set a goal and you achieved it. You
Yeah.
didn't ask for help. You didn't look for help. You set in your mind that okay, this is what I'm going to do. Which is, I'm gonna be honest with you, because I'm into the giving the flowers to people. That's a trait that I see that's in you, that's in her. That's she mirrors her mother in that same situation. Her mother's that same type of person. Like if she wants something, she sees her mind to it, regardless to whom or what. She's gonna go out and she's gonna handle that task. So we got to
Yeah,
give it up to
that's her.
we got
That's
we
her.
got we got to give it up to give it up to the woman that does that. But there is a now dealing with that when you have a woman that's a single. Not talking about her. I'm just saying in general in life. How would you say a woman who's been single for so long that she had to play double roles like the mother and the father? Then she gets into a relationship. Now it's that quagmire that comes to where is got to be a compromise or a change in the dynamics as far as she doesn't have to be both no more. But sometimes they don't want to relinquish that. How do you like how would you help that situation? What would be your words of advice for that situation?
Um, I think that's difficult. And I think the way I would suggest someone to do is to do self
Hmm.
assessment and clearly outline roles. So, what do you expect your significant other to do now that you're in this
Hmm.
new relationship that's new to you? Because again, you're used to trying to play both roles all this time. But I think
Hmm.
communication is important when you're starting to transition from single to married life or in a
Hmm.
relationship even, clearly identifying roles and expectation in every area of your relationship, whether it is what role do you want to have with my children, or don't want to have? Are you going to be part of discipline or not? Are you going to be a part of, all the fun stuff, the sports and the games, et cetera, or even financial, right? Could clearly understand those roles so that when you're taking that step toward marriage, you understand what each other is expecting. Because often when you don't have that conversation, you make assumptions and the person is not willing to fill those roles. Well, I don't want to be their daddy. Well, I don't want someone who's not going to be the daddy, so you have to clearly have those conversations, I think, up front.
Yeah, because I've heard, just through many different conversations that I've had with people really dealing with, females who've been in relationships for, they got into relationships, but they've been single for so long that that terminology, being strong, I have to always tell them there's a difference between being strong and being masculine. I can't be in a relationship with another man. Understand? In other words, is if I'm the, it, it's nothing weak when I'm asking you to see. I think we've gotten to this point in life that word submit is a sign of weakness. But first of all, a man, depending on the type of man that you have and you see, first thing first, he submitted. If he submitted to God, that means he's in the submissive role too, because the church said just as Christ is the head of the church, so the man is his wife. So the man he submitted to his Lord. If you was a Muslim, to Allah. If you was a Christian, Jesus Christ. But if you submit to your higher power, if he submit to that, that's all. He already in the submissive role. But by you submitting, there's only saying we working together, because once we're in this relationship, we submitting to each other. Now the roles have to change to where I have to be me. I'm gonna let you be you. In other words, you can have your strong opinion. You can be strong. You can have all those things, but it's not about you right and I'm wrong. I'm right. You right. I'm wrong. I'm right. You wrong. It's about gaining that understanding, and that, I believe that's what submission, being submissive, come in at. I think the strongest thing a person, or the strongest attribute a person can have, is to be submissive, because it's taking nothing, to attack. But the strongest thing a person can do is to hold back.
Yeah, that's well said. I echo everything that you said. And it took me a long time to realize that I'm a boss at work. I'm not a boss at home. And even though I am strong-willed and strong-minded and I have my opinions, my husband has made a space for me to still voice my opinion, but ultimately, what he says is going to be the final answer. And he takes into consideration, my thoughts, my feelings, and we often do this together. So it's not he made a decision over me. I don't even look at it like that, because if I'm seeing him as the head of our household, I trust him to make the right decisions. I trust that he's not going to intentionally make a decision that cause me or him or us any hurt, harm, or danger. So I allow him that space, and it takes a lot of stress off me. Honestly, I don't have to be a boss at work and be a boss at home. So why not just relinquish and submit? Like, I don't have an issue with it. Sometimes it takes a whole lot of pressure off me when I can say, you know what, whatever your daddy say. Whatever daddy say.
Man, it is. I mean, but you know what, man, I can say that you both had had good examples to follow in life when it comes to marriage. Your father, Mr. Allen, and your mother. Y'all. You and your sisters. Seeing it. And the thing about it is, I've never seen a father-in-law that loves his son. I wouldn't use love his. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes do you ever get jealous in a relationship? Sometimes.
Yeah. What about me? I'm your daughter. It's like, nah, check my son. I'm like, I know that. I love it, but sometimes I'm like, okay.
Yes, and then he had Mr. McQueen, his grandmother. Then he looked at his mother, his mother and his stepfather. So he had examples to pull from. You had examples to pull from. I mean, when there's like because you know when we live right now and that seeing like the divorce rate amongst the African American community is so high. You know, it's like that example of grandmother being, watching your grandmother and your grandfather be married for 50, 60, 70 years, or your mother being for so long. It's like without like you 25 years. Tori going on what, 25? Tori should be going on 25. 20. I know Tori got at least 20 years. Like 20. Tori has like 20 something years.
Cool.
No,
Yeah.
16 years. 16 years. Tori six something like that. I know Tori been married. Yeah, 22 years, somewhere like that. I know he over 20 plus years. You know what I'm saying? And to have that, to actually see that, is is we don't see that a lot in our community. And like with like have you like those challenging moments have couples ever came, and like what do you have for couples when making those transitional periods in relationships and like saying they want to marry?
Couples nowadays, they just give up too easily. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they look at all these fake lives on Facebook and think it's always going to look like that. We have good moments
Mm-hmm.
and we have bad moments, but it's moments and we're going to figure out how to
Uh-huh.
get through it. But often I tell people, if you're in a covenant, a promise, a relationship, that's not just with the significant other,
Mm-hmm.
it's with God. Scripture says that once you're in a covenant with God, you're not breaking that. No one can walk away from that unless God directs you. Don't get me wrong, unless God directs you. But if you're in that
Mm-hmm.
relationship, figure it out. Stop giving up so easily. If this person isn't, fitting this description, stop trying to fix them and fix yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Too often we're worried about the other person versus looking at yourself and say, okay, how can I be a better wife? How can I be a better communicator? How can I be better in all the areas that he needs me to be better in? And when he see me working on me, it's going to automatically allow him to work on himself and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
But we just give up too easily. I mean, I just think anything in life worth having, you got to fight for. And I was willing to fight for my marriage. And sometimes I can get physical if I need to, or I just go to God in prayer and just pray about situations and let God lead and direct and guide me. Tell me what to say. Tell me what to do. I have learned sometimes, Shauna, shut up. Sometimes it is me, and I just have to be quiet and just let things kind of work itself out. And there's times where I don't shut up. Like, you gonna listen to me. Listen to what I have to say until we figure it out.
You know what? And that's the thing. I think the I think a lot of situations can be solved through communication. And but see, I wouldn't even say communication, through the proper communication, because I can communicate with you by me doing yelling and screaming and cussing. That's communicating. But the proper communication, I think that's the key to solving problems. And the proper communication is the head too. You got not just the head, but you listen and pay attention, and don't be.
Yeah.
We get to the point that we listen to we wanna we don't listen to comprehend. We listen to to rebut. You know what I'm saying? To come back at listen to where a person might say something. Well, you did this when you did that. That moment it ain't about what you telling me what I did, because you never voiced it at that time. But don't wait until I'm voicing what you did. Now you wanna, because that's a defense mechanism to where we don't wanna say, do you know what? That mirror. Sometimes you can't run from that mirror. You know what I'm saying? When you look at yourself in the mirror, that's your reflection. That's nobody else staring in that mirror but you.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't even have to respond. Just
Mm-hmm.
because someone is voicing their opinion and their thoughts, sometimes you need to walk away and process and then come back and respond. Because I'm an emotional person.
Uh-huh.
So I realize sometimes that when we're having tough
Mm-hmm.
conversations, I can't say what I want to say immediately because it's not going to come out right. Because I'm all in my
Mm-hmm.
feelings. But once I get out my feelings, then I can come back and have a more intelligent and thought-provoking conversation versus blurting out all the crazy things that's coming at my head at that moment. So sometimes walk away and say, you know what? Let's not talk now. I'm going to come back and
Mm-hmm.
we'll talk later.
Feel that. Let's have some listening out there looking at the bottom. Hold on for a minute. Y'all might hear some low noise passing by because I stay by the train tracks. I don't know if y'all pick up that noise or not. But this like I said, this platform was about today's episode was basically about sitting down and letting you give someone the keys because there come a point in time you never know who might listen to this even maybe months down the line. But the things that you said, like the keys and the jewels that you've given, is much needed, especially when it coming from a person of our community that's younger, that went through things that not can only take because a lot of things people tell from an academia point of view, a theoretical point of view from something that they read in a book, but it was never it's not practical, it was never put in practice. But you were detailing things of things that not from what someone told you, but something that you experienced. Because experience is not something that you go through. Experience comes from once you learn from that what you went through. And that I'd like to thank you for joining us on the Grand Family podcast, where you're not a listener, you're part of the family. And I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed listening. Why is you laughing?
Because she's doing her little hearts, just like her hearts.
Oh, for real? And I thank you, for that. With that said, did you have any last words before we leave? Was unapologetically yeah, don't laugh at me.
It's a tongue twister. It can be.
Yes.
It can be.
Uh-huh. Do you have any words of wisdom that you want to leave the family?
Just, sometimes people feel like they're alone. And in this journey called life, you're never alone. There's people out there willing to support you and help you. In our community, we don't want to reach out for help. I have committed, this is my lifelong journey to helping people get through this journey called life. If you want to connect, reach out to me. I'm on all social media platforms, Shana Wilson Anderson. My website, ShaunaWilsonAnderson.com. I would love to connect and just, if not me, then they'll allow me to connect you with somebody else, because that's what it's all about, connections and helping people just manage through all the various transitions in life, whether you're fresh out of college, fresh into college, or ready to enter corporate America, or getting ready for marriage or that next thing. You're not alone. And if you need a resource, I'm here for you.
And you know what? I will be putting all your platforms and everything in the description, so they can be able to reach out to you. And for your servicing needs, for the servicing needs, I'm gonna be putting in the description also for Shawn's home improvement services. If you're in South Carolina, North Carolina area, so if you need anything done around the house, remodeling wise, decks, porches, windows, garages, roofs, that's the man to get to. Zay, anything you would like to say before we leave, Princess ZayZay, and her debut?
I'll definitely be on some more episodes. I'm saying it was a long time coming, but I will be on some more episodes. Between school and work, I will be more active.
Hey, but you're doing the best thing first. The first thing you say is school. Yeah. This is gonna always be here, but your youth won't always be. So it's best to, take advantage of the moment that you have now to better yourself. But then that, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us on the Grand Family First podcast. Where you're not a listener, you're part of the family. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
I remember once being told that in life, there's two types of pain. It's the pain that hurts and the pain that alters. But yet with both of them is where you should start your growth. Y'all don't understand all the pain that I feel, and it hurts so deep. I'm tired of ducking these ghosts all my life. I'm viewed as being a failure, and every day I'm haunted by that ghost. See, I'm haunted by that ghost. I realize that in most eyes, hell, I'm seen as being a failure.